But what's even more striking is when you actually add in the previous 20 years of Žižek's career. His 1972 first book, in Slovenian, not available in English, The Pain of Difference, was Derridian. Žižek says he doesn't like the title. So he rebranded as Lacan. However, I propose something that a lot of people don't talk about, thinking of Žižek as Derrida without Derrida. Derrida talking about cinema. Actually, there's a whole book now on the fact that Derrida never talked about cinema. Žižek made his career talking about cinema from the perspective of a Derridian masked as a Lacanian. Of course, Lacan was important to film theory. Žižek was more Lacanian than film theory, but wasn't he really Derridian underneath that? What does it mean to be a Derridian in a Lacanian mask? Well, what links Derrida to Lacan is a sense of the impossibility. For Lacan, it's a certain impossibility of getting what we want in human relationships or in human affairs in general, because there's this dynamic from Freud to Lacan where all of our access to reality and to the closest ones to us, the others who populate our reality, all of that is mediated by these mental, emotional structures that are set up in our earliest childhood, built up by our bodily experiences of aggression and trauma, need for love, occasionally the experience of having our needs met by a loving caregiver. But when we come into adulthood, the realization from Freud to Lacan is that we really just superimpose our childhood illusions onto all of our adult objects, these others that populate our reality. And the way that these structures have formed are different from person to person. And there's a power struggle within those structures as we struggle to meet what we now imagine to be our desires and what we need as adults. But it's actually just the unfolding of these power struggles we experienced as a small child. And what Derrida did with that was to take that to philosophy. Did he take it from Lacan and bring it to philosophy? I mean, Derrida obviously was looking at Lacan, although he cites him sparingly. So was Derrida already masking as Lacan, so that when Žižek comes along and masks as a Lacanian, he was always really a Lacanian even though he was a Derridian? What Žižek is explicit about is that all of this goes back to Hegel, because Derrida was redoing Hegel by making contradiction explicit. The dialectic is fundamentally contradiction,